this lesser M4 is just as amazing as the competition in other areas. Given the engine's capacity to overload the rear tires, it's feisty enough that you have to be really paying attention to drive it fast, but keep your throttle inputs progressive, and the M4 reveals itself to be a devastatingly fast cross-country machine. The lateral grip is outstanding, and the front end has plenty of bite. We discovered that first gear tops out at 50 miles per hour, second at 75 miles per hour, and third at roughly 108 miles per hour, as confirmed by a derestricted portion of autobahn. In actuality, you'll be shifting much sooner than that. With plenty of mid-range torque and peak power at 6,250 RPM, this isn't an engine you'll need to redline, nor one you'll want to, as it lacks the top-end ferocity of the previous M4's S55-6. Anyone who has driven a manual M vehicle in the last few years will be familiar with the shift. It's the same box used in the previous generation M3/M4 plus the M2, providing a short and precise throw with a little rubbery sensation as each ratio is engaged. It's not a poor shift, but it's also not remarkable. In terms of ergonomics, the pedal spacing doesn't make heel-on-toe downshifts particularly easy, but it does make them enjoyable when you get one right. In any event, there is an auto rev matching option that can be turned on and off with ease. As far as modern setups go, the steering provides enough feel, which pairs well with the greater engagement provided by the manual gearbox. Meanwhile, the M4's chassis flows beautifully over undulations and faults in the road surface, thanks to well-judged damping, as long as you keep the adaptive suspension in comfort mode. The harsher Sport and Sport Plus settings are better reserved for track driving. This is one of the reasons why the manual feels out of place here, but it isn't the only one. Because the M3 and M4 are now so fast and sophisticated, a quick-shifting automatic transmission appears to be a better bet. The lever, too, has a familiar feel to it, since it appears very identical to what BMW used in cars, like the E36 M3 decades ago. Its positioning feels a little wrong, as if it might be relocated slightly to the left and further ahead. The M4 proves itself to be a fantastic long-distance cruiser in comfort. It's roomy for a coupe, and the well-built, well-designed cabin is a comfortable place to spend several hours. Despite the fact that it wasn't BMW's aim, the M4 is undoubtedly the best Grand Tourer it currently produces, potentially even better than the 8 Series. That element distinguishes this M4 as the entry-level model, which we don't have in the UK. We wouldn't mind if it weren't for the fact that the non-comp variants of the new M3 and M4 are the only ones with a manual transmission. The most observant BMW aficionados will quickly notice something unusual about this particular G82 M4. There is no competition. Script down the bottom of its badges, just M4.